What's going on, everybody? Cryptix here, and today we're going to be talking about the life of a developer in Epic Games, the life of a developer working specifically on Fortnite. Now, before we even jump into this video, guys, don't forget to drop a like. It is greatly appreciated on the channel, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and more importantly, hit that bell next to the subscribe button, next to my name. But yeah, let's talk about this. So I'm going to leave the link to the article in the description below. It's from Polygon. They have some inside sources that actually talked to the developers working on Fortnite, and it's just a constant bombardment. And what I mean by that is just like over 70-hour work weeks. Now, even some reports are calling them 100-hour work weeks for specific developers working on certain things. They really didn't go into that detail, like what they're actually specifically working on, because it has to do with the future releases, the future content of Fortnite. Now, as you may know, Fortnite is currently going under some type of, endgame, Avengers endgame content. So they're, making development for that. They're making development for content that is occurring a month or even 2 months down the road. So this is the result, and people are complaining. People are calling it toxic, a very stressful environment at the company. So we're going to go through some of the quotes right now. And before we even talk about some of these quotes, I do want to disclose that even though I have sympathy for these people, even though I do feel bad for them, it is the job that they decided to kind of the career path that they basically wanted to get into. It's as if a cop was complaining that he had to deal with a grouchy person that was, he was writing a ticket for speeding. It's just, you chose that career path, or even something as simple as, a waiter getting a low tip at some type of diner he works at. Like, you chose that career path, so don't complain if something bad happens from that career path that you were already willing to go under or do, because you chose to, be a cop, be a waiter, or even be a gaming developer at this, scenario. So, obviously Fortnite wasn't, meant to be this crazy video game that was just going to take over the industry. It was just supposedly, going to be an indie game or something of that nature, a building, zombie apocalypse campaign style mode. But then the battle royale mode just blew up in 2017. I mean, it was just insane. I even recall, people were hyping it up a little bit in the spring, and in the summer of 2018 specifically, it just exploded. And even in 2017, it exploded in the summer of then. I mean, it was just blowing up piece by piece, month by month. There was just additional content coming in. The game was free. There was a battle pass, only $10. It was something that we never heard of in the gaming industry. And now that it's part of it, it's become this juggernaut. And with that being said, the responsibility of this juggernaut company is to continuously spew out content, because that's just how, the industry is designed nowadays. People, specifically consumers, want this type of content. They want consistent content. And that's why Apex has kind of fallen off, right? But without further ado, let's talk about some of these quotes. So, there was a lot of them, simple ones such as getting a weekend away from work is a major achievement, just because they're just backlogged with all of this development for future content. And, this goes with the 100-hour work weeks, right? But there's a lot of other things. One of the major bombshells in this article was, I work an average 70 hours a week. And this is from one employee. And then he goes, there's probably at least 50 or even 100 other people at Epic working those hours. I know people who pull 100-hour work weeks. The company gives us unlimited time off, but it's almost impossible to take that time. And if I do take that time off, the workload falls on other people, and no one wants to be that guy. So, I could obviously empathize there, and I really have no idea even what a 70, 80, 100-hour work week is. The most I've ever done is like a 40 or 50-hour week, which is, the average for at least American workers. And to have a 70-hour week, I can't even imagine what a 70-hour week is, not to mention a 100-hour week. If you're doing a 100-hour work week, I'm assuming you're sleeping in the office, You're doing things to kind of lessen the commute. You're doing things so you can essentially, well, you really can't do other things, to be honest with you, because you're just constantly developing the game. I mean, there's maybe 150, 170 hours in a given week, right? So, my math's obviously off there, but it's around that ballpark. And to have literally over half your week devoted to developing a game, I think that's out of hand. I think, that's a little crazy. That's on the extreme ends of it, though, because most people are doing, the 50 to 70 hours, 70 hours pushing it. That should be maybe once or twice a week, or not twice a week, but happen once or twice in your career, possibly for a long period of time. But to have this as a consistent basis, this is kind of worrying. Now, there's even been other quotes saying, I've had friends break down in tears. There was another representative for Epic Games that believes that people are working very hard on, Fortnite and Epic's efforts, but then they also say there's extreme situations, and this is happening once in a blue moon, such as 100-hour work weeks, and they're incredibly rare. In those instances, we seek to immediately remedy them to avoid reoccurrence. So we don't know if they're getting compensated for the 100-hour work week. This is coming from a representative, so this could be some bias. This might happen more often than not, and I believe it does happen more often than this, once in a blue moon, incredibly rare scenario. But that's all speculation, right? We have nothing to prove that. All we know is that there is a bias because this is an Epic representative. But to have friends break down in tears over the development cycle of this game, that is worrisome. And there's a lot of other people saying the executives keep reacting and changing things, then everything has to be done immediately. We're not allowed to spend time on anything. If something breaks, a weapon, say, and this is usually like a bug, right? Then we can't just turn it off and fix it with the next patch. It has to be fixed immediately, and all while we're still working on next week's patch. It's brutal. So constantly coming out with a new patch every single week can be troublesome. I actually don't know why Epic technically patches the game up consistently when they can just add more content. I mean, yes, there are bugs now currently in the game, but I think there were some perfect state of Fortnite maybe 3 or 4 months ago where the game was just not having any glitches, any bugs, and they were, rolling out more guns, more content, more weapons, more items. And now that these patches have actually started to accumulate and happen every single week, it actually probably opens the door for more bugs. But, that's just my end. I don't play Fortnite that much anymore. But yeah, that's definitely something to think about, because if you have a patch every single week, you might be breaking something that wasn't broken a month or two ago. So other quotes go, I hardly sleep. I'm grumpy at home. I have no energy to go out. Getting a weekend away from work is a major achievement. We've already mentioned that. If I take a Saturday off, I feel guilty. I'm not being forced to work this way, but if I don't, then the job won't get done. And another executive or developer said, it falls onto other people. So there's a lot to talk about here. I mean, you have basically the workers kind of drawing an edged sword saying, hey, we're sick of this, we're tired of this. But also they're trembling too, because the executives will just fire and have the disposable person fill up their position if they don't work that Saturday, if they don't work, those type of hours to get the content, the patches, whatever it is, done in the development cycle. And I think we're going to roll out, stop the quotes here, but I really do want to take a minute and say that, there is a lot of people in the development of video games, and there's a lot of people involved with the development of video games, right? And we can go on and on and on and talk about how terrible Epic and Fortnite is, right? And Epic Games Store, there's a lot of drama with that. But when it comes down to it, these people, like I said in the beginning of the video, chose this career path, and so many have chose this career path that they've become this disposable entity that can simply be replaced by another person, get overworked by the 70 to 100-hour work weeks, get burnt out, and then get replaced again by another disposable person. And this cycle just goes on and on. And what we have here is a broken business model for the good of the, ethical approach to, handling these type of employees, to make sure their mental health is okay, to make sure their physical health is okay. Because let's be honest, 100-hour work weeks, you're probably having some type of, headaches. There could be some type of issues where you're just constantly looking at a screen, which I'm assuming they are. And, at the end of the day, you have basically these people that are just getting fried and then getting fired and replaced. And this has happened, and this happens more often than not in like retail and stuff like that, because it doesn't take like a lot of skill to like ring up a shirt or be at a register, right? No disrespect to people that do work at retail, but these people are disposable, just like the gaming developers are disposable in this day and age in the year of 2019. And this is how basically executives are going to treat these people. And there's been a lot of talk saying, oh, they should unionize. That's going to be a total shit show, to be honest with you. But it really does kind of get the ball rolling on the whole fact that there is some type of tension between the executives that aren't working these 100-hour work weeks, still getting the bonus checks from hitting their quotas, hitting their numbers, and then you have the workers on the other hand, and the developers working 70, 100-hour work weeks, getting fried and not getting treated right, and even working weekends. So this is essentially what the state of Fortnite is behind closed doors. And these are insider people talking to Polygon. They, I guess, have some type of connection. This wasn't meant to get out there, but now since it has gotten out there, the representatives are trying to cover their butts and stuff like that. But overall, very interesting stuff. I actually didn't expect this from Epic Games, believe it or not. I had a different approach, mindset to their model, but yeah, that's unfortunately the truth right now. And honestly, I really don't know what the future is of Fortnite. Some people are saying they don't know how this can go on for another year, and it's just very, very interesting stuff. Like I said, I'll leave the article in the description below. I'm Cryptix, not working 100-hour work weeks, and I'm signing off.